work.
Hello everyone, it's time for today's Farm and Ranch News, and today's report is coming from San Antonio, Texas at the 2020 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. And many of the attendees here in San Antonio, well, they're public lands ranchers. There's more than 22,000 public lands ranchers across the nation, and joining us here today is the new executive director of the Public Lands Council, a Wyoming native, Caitlin Glover. Caitlin, what's it like stepping into this role and advocating for the nation's public lands ranchers?
Well, it's incredibly exciting, Lane. I work with the best people in this country on my favorite issues. I feel very privileged to be stepping into a very strong team who do really great work, and so I'm happy to join the team and continue the work they're doing in the Washington office.
Now, as you come on to the PLC role, there's been a lot of work that has been done by PLC members and other staff to help see a reform to issues like NEPA. How does a NEPA overhaul impact public lands grazing?
Sure. Well, NEPA underpins everything that we do on public lands. Anything that you do effectively has to have an environmental review by folks in Washington who ultimately approve that review. We have the opportunity for, frankly, the first time in a generation to look at the efficacy and the timing of a lot of these environmental reviews to make sure not only that it works for the people approving the environmental reviews, but also is timely and is good for the resource.
Now, other developments that producers have seen is the announcement from Secretary Bernhardt there at the Department of Interior on some regulation, well, reworking of regulations for grazing permits. Can we talk about that and how producers can have a voice in these changes to grazing regulations?
Absolutely. Look, this is another once-in-a-generation opportunity for permittees and for other folks who use public lands. They're going to be, as part of this announcement, the BLM has hosted, or is going to host, 4 scoping meetings across the West. They're in Montana, Wyoming, Nevada, and New Mexico. Producers can attend those meetings, they can work with their associations to provide comments, and work with us and our team in Washington to make sure that we're all sharing the same message.
Well, Caitlin, for our listeners and viewers up in Montana, in Miles City this Friday, the 6th at 4:30 at the Sleep Inn, one of those scoping sessions will be held. For more information, you can visit the Department of Interior online for more information. Don't go too far. We'll have more with Caitlin after these words. Returning back today from the Cattle Industry Convention in San Antonio, Caitlin Glover, the Executive Director of the Public Lands Council, joins us. And Caitlin, can you talk about this new legislative bill that's been introduced to retire grazing permits? Obviously, that's a red flag for producers.
That's a massive red flag. Mr. Smith's bill shows that he doesn't understand the way public lands work across the West. Grazing is an integral tool in public land management, and so for any producer who may voluntarily relinquish their permit, that is for their personal use. The agency should not be constrained to never, ever again reconsidering grazing on that particular allotment, because at the end of the day, that's not good for the ag industry, it's not good for the resource, and it's not good for any other user of public lands.
Well, Caitlin, thank you so much for your insight. And, of course, for more on the Public Lands Council, visit them online at publiclandscouncil.org. Again, there's over 7,500 people registered for this year's Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show. Russell Nimitz and I will have more from this year's convention here later this week on the Montana Ag Network. Have a great day, everyone.